It was a 3-run game on Wednesday, but it was a tough watch. Newcomer Touki Toussaint might have been the most enjoyable aspect of this 6-3 loss, but Andrew Vaughn did hit another home run. Michael Kopech left after only 4 innings, and the White Sox had only 4 hits. Sox have an off day to flush it and get ready for the Boston Red Sox.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome back to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. This episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong die-hard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTV. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Chicago White Sox take on the Boston Red Sox on Friday. Lucas Giolito is on the mound. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. State of the Sox, 32-44, 5.5 games back in the ever-forgiving AL Central. Our Chicago White Sox lost the game and series, fell to the Rangers 6-3 on Wednesday night on the South Side. The Sox lost to a pitcher that they had their way with last season. It was only a 3-run game, but man, it felt like the gap was wider. Kopech, he left after the 4th inning. He only had 86 pitches on his arm. As I record, I have not heard if there was any, health issue for that reason, but I thought for sure he would go a little bit longer in the game. Sox offense, they just had 4 hits. It was honestly a tough game to watch, but you know that. Sox have lost 4 series in a row. Full details later on in the episode. So, Ozzie Guillen, he is everywhere. He is on NBC Sports Chicago. He will pop up on different podcasts, and he also spends time on the Mully and Haw show on 670 The Score. He was visiting the show on Wednesday, and he had some things to say as usual. I think it's way harder for Rick Hahn and the White Sox because they don't know what to do right now. Ozzie Guillen said on the Mully and Haw show on Wednesday morning, they don't know. They know they have a chance, and they know it's a good chance to win this division. This division is pathetic. This division is horrible. This division is embarrassing to the game. Ozzie Guillen is not going away anytime soon. I find him very enjoyable on the NBC Sports Chicago pre and post. He tells it like it is. He really does. And I think the question is, if he's not going to go away, and we're going to keep hearing from Ozzie Guillen, and there's always going to be that thing of, well, should Ozzie put the jersey back on and get in the dugout? I thought it was going to happen. I really thought it was going to happen this past fall when it sounded like he had a second interview, and maybe a decision was already made and they were still just giving him an interview. But if you were going to go with a guy that knew the White Sox pretty well, has been watching this White Sox team, and might be able to bring a lot to the table, and on how to fix some things, perhaps, has got managerial experience, has got success. It's been a while, but it's still on the resume. I thought they were going to do it. I thought they were going to give Ozzie the job. And at this point, my thing is, at least make it fun to watch. I wish you could bring Ozzie Guillen in to just manage like 3 series or something. Get the team maybe, kickstart, get them going, and then you could put Pedro Grifol back in. I don't think that works like that. It'll never work like that, actually. But I don't know. It's just I need a spark. I need something from this team, and Ozzie would do it. And boy, maybe they'll still lose, but it will be must watch in my mind. I mean, his post game interviews, he will be calling people out left and right. I don't know if these types of players can handle it. That's the question. I don't know if these players in 2023 can handle how Ozzie did it way back when he was a manager for the White Sox. So again, interesting stuff from Guillen, but he's right. I mean, the division is pathetic. It's horrible. An embarrassment for sure. And this is what Hahn had to say recently on the division. If we are able to turn this thing around and get ourselves in a position to win this division, given that we are currently 12 games under 500, we are obviously to be playing pretty damn good baseball through the final 2-3 months of the season, which would give us reason to believe postseason performance could be better, Hahn said. Making the playoffs is important, but the goals are loftier than that. Will be judged only with what happens as we get much closer to August 1st. Than we are now. So if the powers that be, White Sox front office, Jerry, the brain trust of Kenny, Jerry, and Rick, if they do not believe the White Sox can advance, let's say, out of the first round and be a force in October, are the White Sox going to be sellers no matter where they're at in the division? Is that something that this front office will be wrestling with? Yeah, well, maybe we can win a very bad division, but what does that really say about our ball club? If we don't think we can do much in October and make noise in the playoffs, well, then maybe we really need to get something for some of these guys that are just going to walk after this year. Maybe we just can't pass up some of the deals that contenders are going to throw our way for some of the talent that we have right now on this roster. So I think this is going to play out, for several weeks. But when do you say, what, enough is enough? We're just going to pull this deal. Is there a number, a specific games back? Is it the type of package that another team will come to the White Sox with? They again said it perfectly. He does not envy Rick Hahn and the job that he has to do right now. This was Daryl Van Scoven from the Chicago Sun-Times. He sent this out via Twitter before the game on Wednesday. Yoan Moncada's return from back soreness, having the feel of post-All-Star break. Moncada playing light catch, but not hitting yet. It could be 10 days. It could be 2 weeks. I don't have an answer, Pedro Grifol said. And Van Scoven wrote, 2 weeks takes it 4 days before the break. So why not just keep him on the shelf throughout the entire All-Star break? So now we're looking at definitely mid-July when we maybe we'll see Yoan Moncada back in a White Sox uniform. Scott Greger of the Daily Herald had this prior to the game. He can hit and run, but throwing still a problem for shortstop Tim Anderson, not starting on Wednesday, questionable for Friday after Thursday's schedule break. So been a while since we saw Tim Anderson in the starting rotation. They've decided it just doesn't look like they're going to be giving him an IL stint. So this whole, we're just going to keep him around and see if he can heal himself while on the ball club, on the team. And he did pinch hit the other night. It was a ground out, which is no surprise. So we'll see what we get from maybe Tim Anderson this weekend against Boston. This was Grifol on Popeye Rodriguez starting. I haven't seen it yet, and this is his take on Rodriguez starting. Not right now, I don't think. I think what we did yesterday on Tuesday was more or less what he's going to do, which was pinch run. I'm going to give every opportunity to Remillard. I like the way he plays the game. I like what he brings to the table. I like the way he runs the bases. He's consistent. He bunts. He can hit and run. He does the little things I feel are necessary for us to take that next step. Who would have ever thought in the year 2023, Zach Remillard would be the key for the White Sox to take that next step? Prior to the game, right-handed pitcher Touki Toussaint added to the active roster. Nicholas Padilla optioned to AAA Charlotte. Toussaint, who was claimed off waivers from the Guardians on Sunday, went 2-1 with a 4.06 ERA, a 206 opponent's batting average, and 48 strikeouts over 37 2/3 innings in 20 games. Had one start with AAA Columbus this season. He also made one start for the Guardians on Friday at Arizona, allowing 2 runs on 3 hits with 5 walks and 2 strikeouts over 3 2/3 innings in a losing effort. He can spot start. He can give us length out of the pen. He can go short. So he gives us some versatility to what we're looking for, Grifol said. And boy, Touki Toussaint saw plenty of action on Wednesday, and he was impressive. Sox had no real answers for another left-handed starter, though. More on that in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Birddogs make you look good. Birddogs stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. Birddog shorts do the exact same thing as Lululemon, but fit better. They fit better than regular shorts that are made of stiff, restricting cotton. Birddogs fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki but stretches so you get a slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. Birddogs uses anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB for a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB for a free Yeti-style tumbler. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you. Chicago White Sox face off against the Boston Red Sox on Friday. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Southsiders fell to the Rangers 6-3 in the series finale. Texas threw left-handed pitcher Martin Perez, and Perez had a start against the Sox last season. He went 5 innings, gave up 12 hits, 7 runs, 6 of them were earned, a couple walks, and had 4 strikeouts. Again, remember the days when the White Sox just absolutely mashed left-handed starting pitching? It feels like that was so many years ago. Yasmani Grandal was scratched. It was a late scratch from Wednesday's game with right knee soreness. He is day-to-day. You hate to hear that about his knees. Top of first, a 2-out walk to low issued by Kopech. Then Garcia went to the warning track, but it was just a nice, efficient 17-pitch inning for Kopech. Bottom of first, White Sox scored early, 2-out base hit by Luis Robert Jr., followed up by a 2-strike, 2-out double by Eloy Jimenez down the right field line, 1-0 Sox. Top of second, Kopech did a nice job battling back from a 3-0 hole, struck out Young on a high fastball, sitting 96 miles per hour with that fastball. A quick inning right after the Sox score, always a good feeling. Sox did nothing in the bottom of the second. They were pretty quiet after that busy first inning. Top of third, Kopech struck out 3 in the inning, but Texas was tough to put away. 2-out hit by Semien. Walked Seager on 4 pitches. Wasn't even close with a few of them. And then Lowe smashed one to left field in and out of Benintendi's glove. Texas got on the board, game tied at 1. Rangers, man, they can hit, and they can hit with runners in scoring position. Bottom of third, Perez, he was settling in. Sox went down quietly, ground ball theater. Not a lot of rest for Kopech either after he had a long top of the third. So in the top of the fourth, Duran was down in the count 0-2, and Kopech hung a slider. It was mashed for a 2-run home run, 3-1 Texas, 76 pitches, and Kopech was not out of the fourth yet, issued his third walk. Kopech looked like he lost his release of the slider and could not spot that fastball. When he can't spot the fastball, it is flying on the outside, especially to a right-handed hitter. 85 pitches, I think it was 86 actually, 86 pitches after 4, and he was done. Bottom of 4, Sox sitting on those 2 hits from the first inning. Eloy walked, and Berger swung at the first pitch he saw and popped up to first base. I mean, Sox are down. You just saw what, Perez did to Eloy. See a pitch, take a pitch, wait for something that is absolutely what you want. Another Sox ground out. And look, I got the feeling that, the Sox just used all their magic on Tuesday night. Top of 5, again, Kopech did not come out for the 5th. It was Jimmy Lambert. He got himself into a jam, first and third with 1 out. Jonah Heim, a no-doubter 3-run home run. Heim hit a 2-2 middle fastball. It was 6-1 Rangers at this point. Bottom 5, Sox with just 2 hits through the 5th. Here comes in the 6th inning. Here comes Toussaint into the game, and he looked really good. A lot of life on his pitches. A lot of action with that arm, a lot of movement. Bottom of 6, Andrew Vaughn led off with a home run to left field, 6-2 White Sox. Bottom 7, Sox had runners at the corners with 1 out. A sac fly by Zavala, 6-3 Rangers. That was it, though, in the inning. Top of 8, Touki Toussaint, another scoreless inning. Bottom 8, ground balls and double plays all over the place from our White Sox. Sox had 13 ground outs in the game. 9th inning, Touki Toussaint was back out there again. Again, one of the few bright spots, enjoyable things I would say about Wednesday's game was seeing this guy come in and what we might be able to get out of him, down the stretch here through the All-Star break. Bottom of 9, if you took your eyes off the TV for too long, you'd miss the nothingness that the Sox accomplished in the bottom of the 9th. Game over. Final line here for Kopech, a bizarre line. Maybe there's some more information we'll get, Thursday on what happened there with Kopech. But 4 innings, just 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. His ERA now 4.06. He threw 86 pitches. Again, I gave you the quote in the last Lockdown Sox episode. He went 4 1/3 his previous start against the Mariners, and he was not happy about it. He also had 6 walks in that outing. He knew he needed to go longer in the game. So this start was less, 4 innings on Wednesday night. Bizarre. Lambert, he was a 1-inning guy, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk and a strikeout. Touki Toussaint, wow, what a night. 4 innings, 0 hits, 0 runs, couple of walks, and 4 strikeouts. White Sox offense, 3 runs, 4 hits, A couple of doubles and a home run from Vaughn. Sox were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Berger was 0 for 4. Last 7 games for Jake Berger, slashing 111, 172, 259, 12 strikeouts, just 3 hits. He is ice cold as of late. More rumors attached to Lucas Giolito as a potential trade chip. A few teams emerge as a possible landing spot. More on that in a moment. So there was an article on MLB.com by Mark Feinsand, 10 trade chips and where they might land. And Lucas Giolito, to no surprise in my mind, was one of the 10 players mentioned. And this was Feinsand's write-up. Giolito has pitched to a 3.14 ERA in 9 starts since the beginning of May, including a 1.50 ERA in his last 3 June outings. But the White Sox came into the week 11 games under 500. They will have some difficult decisions to make. For instance, do they trade controllable arms such as Dylan Cease or Michael Kopech? Giolito will be a free agent at the end of the season, making it a near certainty that he will be wearing a new uniform by August. And potential fits, Houston Astros, LA Dodgers, and the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, the Phillies have been named in rumors for a long time. I remember on this podcast back in the off season, shortly before spring training started, there was an article out of Philadelphia, predictions being made. Maybe it was just a national article, but Philly, it was centered on Philly and what they could potentially be doing. They're short on arms. They had some offense. What could possibly happen? And Lucas Giolito's name popped up in this pre-spring training article about he might be dealt to a team like the Phillies that need arms down the stretch. Here's how Tim Kelly from Phillies Nation envisioned it in a recent article. Adding Giolito into rotation with Zach Wheeler, Taijuan Walker, Ranger Suarez, and Aaron Nola, especially if Nola turns his own contract year around, is certainly intriguing. It would be especially interesting if the Phillies believe they can get Giolito back to pitching like he did between 2019 and 2021, when he looked like a pitcher who would get 150 plus million when he eventually hit free agency. Giolito could also be insurance for Nola this offseason should the Phillies not reach a long-term deal with their longest tenured arm. Again, what do the Philadelphia Phillies have in their system? Could it be a good fit for the Sox? The Dodgers would be a homecoming of sorts for Giolito, born and raised out there in California. We will see Lucas Giolito on the hill on Friday when the Red Sox come to town. Again, Red Sox, maybe 3 or 4 games over 500, but seller of the AL East. And that's really how difficult the AL East is. So it doesn't get any easier for our Chicago White Sox when the Red Sox come to town. Folks, thank you so very much for making this podcast part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast absolutely everywhere you find your podcast. We're on Twitter at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Any questions, comments you have for a future mailbag episode, get them into lockedonsox@gmail.com. Our Chicago White Sox take on the Red Sox on Friday at 35th and Shields. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Hey, thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen every day. Hey, everydayers, you know who you are, and I do appreciate that. On the next episode, I will try to make sense of what we've seen from our White Sox and get to some mailbag questions. What do you want the White Sox to do as this trade deadline starts getting ever so close? Try and go for it, win the AL Central, stand pat, or maybe sell off. Really appreciate you making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Morawski. Until next time, go Sox.